Whether you're into metal or not, you've no doubt heard their name. Through the power of the Fox God, these girls were chosen to save metal. But in the beginning, there were some that felt the complete opposite. From starting off as a simple subgroup, to sharing the stage with the likes of Slayer and Judas Priest. In this episode of Otaku Files, we take a look at Babymetal. Most of us outside of Japan may not be aware of some of the more interesting personalities within the Japanese otaku landscape, so I thought I'd do a little video series and try to shed some light on these individuals. This is Otaku Files.
スーメタルです。ユーメタルです。モアメタルです。私たちベビーメタルです。
Having been somewhat of a metalhead myself now for a number of years, I honestly don't know another band or group that has shaken up the metal scene like Babymetal. Cited as being the pioneers of the kawaii metal genre, they regularly play sold-out shows all around the world, have played alongside some of the biggest names in metal, and have numerous awards to their name. I think it's safe to say that Babymetal have permanently left their mark in the world of metal. But how on earth did this even happen? Let's start from the beginning. To understand the origins of Babymetal, we must first talk about their producer, Kobayashi Kei, better known as Kobametal. Kobametal had apparently been into metal from around the time he was in elementary school thanks to Seikimatsu, one of the most famous heavy metal bands in Japan that have been around since the early 80s. Soon after, he would start playing music himself, first being in the brass band club in middle school and then playing guitar for a band in high school. In university, Kobametal studied politics and economics, but instead of thinking about looking for a job, he was just having too much fun playing in a band. He was, however, able to link his passion for music with work by joining Amuse, one of the biggest entertainment companies in Japan. Kobametal experienced a lot of different things in Amuse as a result of being moved around to different departments and also being able to start up his own label. The one thing that was always going through his mind though was how to create success. His journey that would eventually lead him to that started off with one girl, Nakamoto Suzuka, who we would come to know as Sumetal. Now, Suzuka had been a part of the entertainment world since she was apparently 3 years old, starting off as a kids model. In 2008, she joined a kids unit called Karengaruzu. Apparently, Karengaruzu was made out to be the quote-unquote little sister unit of Perfume. Both groups were being managed by Amuse. Karengaruzu only lasted for around a year, but Kobametal was very impressed by Suzuka's dancing and singing skills, saying that she had great potential. Kobametal actually got to attend the group's final concert because the group he was placed in charge of at that time, Minipati, were also scheduled to perform there. After seeing Suzuka's performance at the final concert, he decided to start plans to make a new group. Interestingly, future Babymetal member Mizuno Yui was also said to have seen that concert because she was actually a fan of Karengaruzu. She was also under contract with Amuse. Kobametal was very conscious of how unique the Japanese music market was, that when there's a new movement, a wave of artists tend to follow suit. When he first started working at Amuse, he was involved with the band Shamshado, who had pivoted their look towards Visual Kei, which he believed helped market them. While thinking about what direction this new unit should take, at a time where the idol scene was fiercely competitive, the Visual Kei boom popped up in Kobametal's mind, leading him to the idea of a metal band that were posing as an idol group. Of course, Kobametal being a huge metalhead also played a huge part in this, but just how Perfume managed to fuse the genre of techno with the idol world, he did believe this idea held a lot of promise, that this group could become the dark heroines of the idol world. Kobametal also wanted members that were a contrast to Suzuka's unique presence, so he chose the angel-like members Mizuno Yui and Kikuchi Moa, aka Yui Metal and Moa Metal. Along with placing a lot of focus on performance and song quality, this all eventually led to what would become Babymetal. Now, originally, Babymetal, debuting in 2010, were made out to be a subgroup of Sakura Gakuin. Sakura Gakuin, literally meaning Cherry Blossom Academy, was an idol group with, as the name would imply, a very school-like theme. Babymetal were a part of the quote-unquote after-school club called Ju-Onbu, which we can translate as the Heavy Music Club. Very fitting. FYI, Sakura Gakuin would end up closing its doors in August 2021.
今日はとりあえず楽しんで 元気に行きたいです。
Now, as you might have guessed, the members of Babymetal weren't exactly familiar with the world of metal at first, but Kobametal says he never forced them to listen to any metal or make them learn about metal history. He did, however, tell them about the horn's hand gesture, and apparently through just playing, the girls turned it into what would be their well-known kitsune sign, aka fox sign. Kobametal just thought it was interesting, so he made it a part of Babymetal's branding. Sometimes the best things just happen organically, I guess. Like I mentioned, Babymetal were a part of Sakura Gakuin, which would actually influence their first song, Doki Doki Morning. As most of you know, although Doki Doki Morning has those strong metal elements that Babymetal would become known for, it actually has a real catchy and almost poppy kind of vibe. Kobametal explains that this was done on purpose, since the song would be debuting at a Sakura Gakuin concert, Sakura Gakuin fans being, well, idol fans. I know, shocking. And probably because of that, initial reactions to Babymetal and Doki Doki Morning were supposedly a bit lukewarm. But of course, the real effect of Doki Doki Morning wouldn't be felt until the release of the music video on YouTube. At the time of this recording, the edit version released in 2011 now has close to 3 million views, but the full version released around a year later now has 33 million views. Doki Doki Morning ended up catching a lot of attention outside of Japan, as one could tell from the comments section. Kobametal thought there might be some interest from overseas, but never this much. However, the reception was pretty mixed. Kobametal acknowledged this, but also understood that within the metal scene, anything new almost always gets bashed, citing bands like Metallica and Slipknot as examples. So negative feedback never fazed him, and believed if anything, that weird feeling that Babymetal gave people was something to cultivate. I'm telling you, the man's a genius. At the beginning of 2013, within a music TV show, Babymetal announced what their goal was. Sekai Seifuku, world domination. And that would end up happening a lot more faster than they probably thought. For their first 3 years, Babymetal did well, gaining a certain amount of recognition within Japan, while also building a fanbase overseas, with songs like Ijime, Dame Zettai, Ine, and Megitsune. They also performed at a number of different music festivals, including Summer Sonic, Tokyo Metropolitan Rock Festival, and Rock in Japan Festival. But Kobametal came to understand that probably for Babymetal, their main market wasn't domestic, but overseas, which is why he decided after their concert held in the Budokan in 2014 that they should have their first world tour. However, there was something else that happened in 2014 which would greatly boost their recognition overseas and help them achieve their goal of world domination: the release of Gimme Choco, aka Gimme Chocolate, on YouTube. The bizarreness and yet catchiness of the song not only helped it rack up a ton of views not too soon after its release, but we would also see a large number of reaction videos to it, bringing the group even more attention. Simply put, Gimme Choco went globally viral. With now over 200 million views, it's still one of their most popular songs. 2014 would also see the release of their first studio album, the self-titled Babymetal. By 2015, Babymetal were essentially on fire, doing a second world tour and winning numerous awards, with releasing their second album Metal Resistance in 2016 and doing another world tour within that same year. Babymetal became one of the most well-known and popular Japanese groups outside of Japan. But Babymetal did have some pretty rough times. One was the tragic loss of Kogami, or Fujioka Mikio, in 2018, who was a part of Babymetal's backing band Kamibando. He fell from an observation deck and unfortunately ended up passing away from the injuries he sustained. Another blow to Babymetal was, of course, the departure of Yui Metal. Yui Metal started being absent from Babymetal shows from the end of 2017 due to health reasons, before officially leaving the group the following year in October. Within her last statement, she spoke about health reasons and a desire to pursue her own dream, but in September 2025, on their official website, Amuse would announce the ending of her contract with them and her leaving the entertainment industry completely. For years, fans have speculated about Yui Metal and the way she left, with many finding it hard to accept. Personally speaking, I don't think it might be that hard to understand. I mean, she started off in a small idol group in Japan when she was like 11 years old and ended up doing multiple world tours. I'm sure there are many that wouldn't be comfortable with that. In any case, from 2023, Babymetal gained a new member, Okazaki Momoko, or Momometal. Momoko was originally a part of the Avengers, a support unit that helped out Suzuka and Boa after Yui had left. Although it must not have been easy to fill Yui's shoes, Many of the fanbase seem to have openly accepted Momoko as a member, but you can let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below, along with any suggestions for future videos. Babymetal are stronger than ever, and are scheduled to do another world tour in 2026. Anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. This was indeed a request, but I got to admit I was on the fence about covering Babymetal since they're already so well known. Hopefully though you did learn something new. I actually do like Babymetal. I went to one of their concerts back in the day, so this was sort of a trip down memory lane for me. Anyway, thank you again. See you in the next one. Stay safe. Peace.